Welcome to this FirmGuard demo. What you're looking at here is the FirmGuard portal, which can be accessed from any web browser by typing in app.firmguard.com. And the very first thing that comes up when you log into the portal is what you're looking at here, the FirmGuard dashboard. There are a lot of things going on. I won't spend time looking at all of it, but I'm going to concentrate on these couple of widgets on this side, the left side. The one right here simply shows the number of endpoints, the total number of endpoints, those that are online and those that are offline. For demo purposes, I have a very small number of endpoints, but FirmGuard will scale to many thousands of endpoints for a given MSP. But I really want to spend time over here because, as you can see, fully half of the endpoints that we have in this demo are unhealthy in some way. And so let's dig into some of that. The first thing you'll see here is that there are two endpoints that have Secure Boot disabled. And for those of you that are not familiar, Secure Boot is a mechanism, it's a UEFI BIOSFirmware mechanism to make sure that an authenticated or an authentic version of the Windows OS is launched. And so clearly, if you disable Secure Boot, that means a hacker could launch essentially a rogue version of the operating system, which is clearly a very bad thing. Now, there are a variety of reasons why Secure Boot might be disabled. The two main ones are either a misconfiguration or more likely some sort of malware. For example, there's a very well-known UEFI malware called Black Lotus, and that's exactly what it attempts to do, disable Secure Boot. And so if you had FirmGuard deployed on your endpoints in your infrastructure and any of them were infected with Black Lotus, you would know right away because they would show up here as having Secure Boot disabled. And so then you could simply click right here and drill down and see, okay, what are those two endpoints that have Secure Boot disabled? And I'm going to pick on this one, this Lenovo, and that's going to take us to an endpoint screen. So we are now seeing very specific information about this endpoint, this Lenovo desktop, which is running Microsoft Windows 10 Pro. And you'll see here multiple tabs: Secure Sense, Secure Check, Secure Config, Secure Wipe. These are all specific features of FirmGuard, and I'll go through all four of them during this demo. And I want to start with Secure Check. And as you can see, there's a critical alert there. So Secure Check is the mechanism within FirmGuard that is constantly monitoring the BIOS of a given endpoint. And so it is the mechanism that in this particular case for this Lenovo desktop, it's what detected that Secure Boot was disabled and obviously then provided this critical alert. And so that's fantastic because there's probably no other tool that you have in your setup that would let you know that Secure Boot is disabled. And that's obviously a really, really bad situation to be in. So that's sort of half the battle, knowing that there's a problem. But what could we do about that? Is there a way that we could mitigate that problem? And the answer is yes. And that takes us to the next tab here, Secure Config, which is another feature within FirmGuard. And this one is specifically focused on BIOS, remote BIOS configuration. So essentially allowing an administrator to administer the BIOS, make changes and updates to BIOS settings without ever having to go to the endpoint, doing it all remotely. And so what you see here is a long list of BIOS parameters that can be changed. And what FirmGuard does is it faithfully reproduces all of the parameters that the OEM or manufacturer of the endpoint, Lenovo in this case, exposes to the end user. And so as you can see, there are a large number of parameters. I won't go through all of them, but I want to focus in on one very specifically. You can see here there is a parameter for Secure Boot. And if I click on that, indeed, it is disabled. And so if I wanted to fix this endpoint, I could click on that, save it. This is going to reboot the machine, so I won't do it here for the purpose of this demo. But that's how you could solve this problem of Secure Boot being disabled. So that's now Secure Check and Secure Config that we've looked at. I want to now move on and show you what Secure Wipe is all about. And probably the name gives it away. The purpose of Secure Wipe is allow you to remotely wipe a given hard drive on an endpoint. In the case of this Lenovo desktop, there are two different drives available in it. They're shown here. And I'm going to pick on this Hitachi one right here. I'll select it. You'll now see that I can wipe that specific drive. So if I click here on wipe drive, it gives me this screen, which allows me to select the algorithm that I want to use to wipe. So one key thing to point out about Secure Wipe is it's a forensic wipe. What that means is it totally wipes the drive in such a way that there's no data at all recoverable. So this isn't a factory reset that you might do using Microsoft Intune or something like that. It is a forensic complete wipe of the drive. And as you can see, we offer a variety of different methods, some international ones, British, German, so US DoD. And so you could simply click and take the algorithm you want. I'll just keep it single passive zeros. And then you click erase here. Now I'm not going to actually do the erase here on the demo, but you can see we provide a variety of different warnings since obviously this is a destructive action. Furthermore, in order to be able to do this, you have to have multi-factor authentication turned on. So in this particular case, if I actually wanted to wipe it, I would type the word confirm here, and I would click confirm, and it would begin to wipe the drive. And again, I won't do that here, so I'll cancel and come out. But now, we've shown you secure check, secure config, and secure wipe. And let's go back to the dashboard, and we'll take a look at what secure sense is all about. So we talked about secure boot, and we see that there are two endpoints that have secure boot disabled. The next thing here is this is for BitLocker. You'll see that there are actually 3 different endpoints that have BitLocker disabled. And so similarly, if you click here, it'll show you those 3 endpoints that have BitLocker disabled. And I'll pick on this Acer right here. And this will now take us to Secure Sense, which basically Secure Sense is a mechanism to get a variety of different system information about the particular endpoint you're looking at. And as you'll see here, as indicated in the dashboard, indeed, BitLocker is disabled on this Acer laptop. But you can see we provide a large amount of information, various information about the endpoint. So information about the BIOS itself, the operating system, build date, and so forth, as well as very detailed information about CPU, memory, and storage. And so we have many MSPs that really like Secure Sense because it provides you the actual serial numbers and part numbers of memory and storage and various parts of the endpoint. And the reason why that's important to certain MSPs is because they build endpoints for their clients that they want to make sure that the authentic memory and storage and so forth is still in there. All right, so that's gives you a sense of what Secure Sense is all about. Let's go back to the dashboard and look at the final thing here, which is legacy boot enabled. This is a really, really serious problem. So what do we mean by legacy boot enabled? So you can, when you configure Windows, you can essentially put BIOS in one of 2 modes. It can be in legacy mode or UEFI mode. And you definitely don't want to have an endpoint in legacy mode. You want all of them to be in UEFI mode because UEFI is the modern standard for BIOS firmware, and it is secure. Legacy is not. It's very, very insecure. And so like before, we can click here and we can see that there's a specific endpoint, this Intel endpoint that has that's in legacy mode. And we know that because we can scroll down in Secure Sense and we can see that this says legacy. And so there are really, essentially 2 ways to solve this problem. The first is to reinstall the OS in UEFI mode. And if that's not possible because perhaps the machine is too old, then really you should decommission this machine. You should probably use Secure wipe it, and not have your client use this machine anymore because it's inherently insecure. So you should probably replace it with a brand new machine. So with that, I think we've gone through the key features: Secure Sense, Secure Check, and Secure Config, and the dashboard. So I'll end the demo here.